Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of RIoT, I am so happy to have you here with us today for RIoT and the Industrial Internet Consortium's co-hosted event, the IoT Fast Pitch. If you don't know who RIoT is, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're headquartered in North Carolina, in Raleigh, but we really do have a global reach. And I'm really excited for RIoT's Executive Director, Tom Snyder, to explain a little more about the RIoT organization before we get started with our pitches. I just want to thank every one of our partners on the RIoT side of our organization. Really, we could not do what we do without these organizations. We have over 90 partners that support our organization, and we're so excited to have some of them here with us today, including the lovely Michelle Knoll, who's a judge for this. But Tom Snyder will also touch on some of the partner organizations that are also partners of the Industrial Internet Consortium. A few quick housekeeping reminders before we get started. Please do keep your microphones muted throughout the event. If you do have questions, we encourage you to use the chat box, and we will try our hardest to make sure that all of your questions are answered. You are welcome to turn on closed captioning or live transcription for all of our wonderful participants with any accessibility needs. And we do have trivia today, which is a really cool concept that our partners at Industrial Internet Consortium introduced to us that we're excited to participate in. And if you do have any questions about that, again, use the chat box. You'll be able to answer all of the trivia questions via the chat window. Last reminder, this event is being recorded and will be posted to RIoT's YouTube channel. You'll be able to watch it later, and we'll also post it to the meetup page, and we'll also share it with our friends at the Industrial Internet Consortium. So you'll be able to find it wherever you signed up for this event. But without further ado, I would like to introduce Mitch Singh from the Industrial Internet Consortium, who will kick us off today. Thanks for having us, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Konnichiwa. Okay, I put on this my outfit over here. Actually, normally I wear different hats for different events, but today I think this one is called a hachimaki in Japanese. Hachimaki is actually probably the best one for this event. This is actually something that I got from my trip to Japan, and a friend of mine sent it to me. At first, I say, no, I don't want to be the sushi chef in Benihana. But they said, no, this you got it totally wrong. This is a Japanese bandana. It shows that almost like the rally cap in the United States. It shows the spirit, and then it says, must win. You fight, right? Just like all our members and also our contestants today, they are all startup companies, and then they are fighting for their success. So must win. That's the spirit. I take it. But on the top of that, this one originally is the design for the samurai, right? For before they go down the battle, they put this on to show the spirit, and also put a helmet, right? And also to prevent the sweating to blur their vision. But I also found that because of this pandemic, I couldn't have a haircut easily. So this actually is perfect to cover up a messy hair, right? So welcome to this event. As I mentioned earlier, this is actually the event for the startup companies. Then in IIC, we encourage members to join, and also we're glad to have RIoT to team up with us to help their members as well to promote what their innovations through this forum. I just checked on my calendar. Actually, IIC launched this event called the Pitch Night in 2019, and also with RIoT. So I'm glad that we actually resumed this activity after all the meetings got turned online because of the pandemic. So, and I'm glad that we also relaunched it again through the RIoT. And thanks Tom and Caroline and also wonderful members from the RIoT to help us. So today we are going to have 5 contestants, each are representing the startup companies to join us, and then to have a 5-minute pitch. And then in the process, then we have a panel of judges. It's Michelle Knoll from SAS, and also we have Bassam Zakot from IG Power, and also Marcellus Bacchetti representing Webull Technology, Webull Systems USA, those are our IIC representative for small industry. And then we also have a representative from the large industry, Todd Emmons from Dell, Farida, which, sorry, I always have problem to pronounce Farid's name. I always just call him Farid. And then the Swan Toothman from SAP to join us today. The judges will actually, we have a list of questions designed for them. And then they will ask questions through the chat panel. And then also if they think that need to get a clarification, they will unmute themselves. Then this actually, this event, as I said, is a one event we try to help startup companies to make them more visible to the industry. So as you are aware that we actually recording this activity, so that we'll show it later. And for those, especially for those people who cannot participate, they online, they can also review it. And the whole idea is that we will get them to have their pitch to tell us why the judges, like a group of investors, why we should all invest on their technology. And I believe that we're going to have a ride today, a wonderful ride today, because I already know that we have a good presenters with us, and those are the wonderful members from RIoT as well. So yes, please join us in the IIC and also RIoT activities in the future. Now I'd like to hand this floor to Tom Schneider, for the director of RIoT, to introduce the panelists. No, sorry, not the panelists, the contestants. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. We're excited to once again be partnering with IIC on this event. It's been a great relationship over the years. I love what IIC has done, even recently, to be much more inclusive to startup companies joining the organization, providing opportunities to get involved early. It's a great organization. We have a number of common partners, and I think maybe the next slide has that. These are organizations that are both sponsoring and members of RIoT as well as IIC. I encourage anyone who is not on this list, join. If you're a RIoT sponsor, you should seriously consider looking at the Industrial Internet Consortium and vice versa. Just real briefly, we work day in and day out in how emerging technologies create jobs. One of the areas that is relevant to today is that we run a startup accelerator, and a number of the teams that you're hearing from today have gone through that program. But we also work with corporate innovation teams. We work kind of across all market verticals. So if you'd like to learn more about how to get involved in our organization, please feel free to reach out. But we're here today to support some incredible growing companies. We've got 5 of them today that are going to be pitching. The format is a short pitch. We've got some judges that'll ask some questions and answers. Each organization collectively, that's going to be about 5 minutes. So this is quick. It's very high level. You may, as audience members, want to reach out to these companies and ask more questions after the event. We'll make sure that all their contact information is available so that you can do that. But we've got a curated group of judges, as you've just heard, that'll be kind of asking the official questions of the teams. But we were so happy to do this for the first time in 2019. I'm glad to see that it continues. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in today. Caroline Griffin, who opened this, is going to help with some of the introductions, going to help run the clock. I'll be available as well. And we look forward to seeing who gets crowned today's champion. So let's go ahead and get started. Caroline, I'm going to hand it to you.
Thanks so much, Tom. Again, just really excited to have you all here with us today, and thank you to our partners at the Industrial Internet Consortium for all of your amazing help and for helping get this event together. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Gabriel Koch. He's our first presenter for our fast pitch today, and he is with AgroPatterns/Information Patterns, and they are transforming indoor agriculture. So Gabe, please do go ahead and put your slides up, and I will get the clock started when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Caroline. Just give me a second, please, and I will share the screen. Okay, I'm ready. Can you hear me okay, Caroline? Everything good? All right.
We are good to go. Thanks, Gabe.
Great. Thank you so much to everyone. My name is Gabriel Koch. I am the founder of Information Patterns, and today I'm going to talk to you about flowers. So there's a huge industry behind the beautiful flowers that you receive or that you purchase for special occasions such as Valentine's. It's a $30 billion a year industry in the US. And it's also supplied mostly from one country. Colombia provides about 70% of the fresh flowers that are purchased in the US. I happen to know this because I am from Colombia. Sadly, there's also a lot of waste in this industry. 45% of the flowers that are cut never make it to their destination. Let me tell you a little bit about how flowers are grown. They're mostly grown in greenhouses the size of a football field, and they produce about 1 million stems per year. Traditionally, the methods for gathering data about these crops have been archaic, analog thermometers for temperature and humidity, as well as paper and pencil to gather data about the pests and diseases that affect these crops. Likewise, just as growing these flowers has been somewhat archaic in terms of data gathering, the selling of these flowers has been very archaic as well. Brokers that are representing one farm contact retailers in the US, and they negotiate on a one-by-one basis. So that all that situation in this industry encouraged us to start AgroPatterns. And we did so 4 years ago. Today, we are providing our clients with IoT sensors to manage, to record data about temperature and humidity in the field. We also provide an app for people to walk up and down flower beds and record the presence and severity of insects. And we provide dashboards for the people that make the decisions. And that all translates into faster information and quicker decision-making. And that basically translates into lower toxicity and a better quality of the product and better forecasting. Today, AgroPatterns is growing at a healthy pace. We have grown 6 times in the last 6 months, and we are on target to capture about 20% of the addressable market of 6,000 hectares in Colombia. And that is encouraging for both us as well as for our clients that are realizing the importance of technology. Now, we see a much bigger opportunity to help this industry. So we are targeting and we are working very hard on creating an AgroPatterns marketplace. And that means, just in layman's terms, imagine an Amazon for flowers, where we really want to create transparent pricing in terms of having multiple farms supply their product, also improve the reliability of the procurement process so that retailers get what they need on time. Also, being able to trace the flowers from its inception all the way to the person that receives it. And all this translates into huge benefits for the industry as such, for the farmers as well as the retailers, and ultimately for the happy customers. You can see the smile on everybody that receives fresh flowers. We are starting with 1 billion stems. That is the inventory that we manage today. That is about 20% of the market, but we think that we can grow it. And really what we want is to modernize the whole industry as a whole. So thank you very much. I hope I stayed within the 3 minutes, and I'll take your questions.
Thank you so much, Gabe. Wonderful. I will now offer the floor to our judges. Please unmute yourself and ask any questions. Also, the audience members, if you do have any questions, please do put those in the chat box. But again, judges, please feel free to unmute yourselves and ask questions.
I have a quick
Go ahead.
question. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Bassam. Do you see that your value or your returns coming from providing the growers with the technology and the monitoring software and hardware as the key revenue driver, or do you see the marketplace as the big feature of your solution? And number two is that marketplace stood up and already going?
Okay, so to date, our revenues are coming off from the farmers, But as most of you probably know, creating a marketplace is a challenging issue in terms that you have to build up the supply. But we see the near future being where revenues are going to be distributed. And actually, most of our revenues should come from the marketplace because we are charging per transaction or per stem. So, but really, when you build a marketplace, it does take time to build that supply. And we're now at a place where we can definitely leverage the marketplace. We are in beta in our marketplace. We are not sharing it with everybody, but we have some partners that are testing and that are willing to jump on it because it benefits them as well as their customers.
Great, thank you.
I have two questions. My first question is, what is the competitor situation? So do you have competitors, or you see potential competitors? Especially, I see a company like Microsoft. Yeah, when they say, who said $30 billion revenue, they said, okay, let's sell flowers tomorrow, and they imitate you. My other question within this direction: do you have any patents or plan any patents to protect yourself against competitors?
Well, I hope Microsoft doesn't compete with us. I hope that they don't get into the industry of selling flowers. But it's hard to compete in this marketplace in that you really have to create a supply. There are two other companies that are offering a product for plant health in Colombia and Ecuador. We do not see them in the digital market space, in the digital marketplace yet, but I'm sure that they will see that there's an opportunity there as well. So I hope I answered your first question. Now, the second question, in terms of patent, I have some experience in patents, and we do not see this as a very patentable product in that we are not doing anything that hasn't been done before. We are applying best practices from other industries into the floral industry that really needs it. So in terms of patents, we don't see any opportunity there.
One follow-up question. This is Bassam Rakut. One follow-up question to the competition question. How do you see the relationship with organizations like Interflora, for example, who have a mind share and market share in the marketplace?
An important question. What we're trying to do is disrupt a market that has been very entrenched in using brokers and other mechanisms that we see as obsolete. If we create a digital marketplace, we may be disrupting part of the supply chain. So we really haven't reached out to these institutions yet. We are working with the farmers very closely because we really want to improve their chance for productivity, profitability. And also from the other end, we want to make the product much more reliable. I mean, we've seen all types of percentages of lack of reliability and quality in the market. So that's how we are approaching this.
Thank you.
One quick question, if you have still time. What is the stage of your funding at this moment? Which stage you are, and also what is the profit that you're thinking on the product and services that you're providing? And is it going to be only product, or is it going to be product and services?
Okay, we have been self-funded so far. I, as a founder, and I have another investor that is also involved in operations. We are profitable in Colombia, helping our farmers, and we charge on a subscription basis for the product. And we have different vectors of revenues, whether it's being the sensors that we provide, as well as the monitoring system. We also have different modules. So that is one source of revenue. We have not finalized the business model for the marketplace. We know that given the supply that we have, we want to just we have a path for the farmers to offer their product to the marketplace. So we will probably charge based on transaction.
Thank you so much, Gabriel.
Question to Caroline, if there's.
Oh, go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead.
Thank you, Gabriel. Enjoyed your presentation. I actually saw a couple of also prompts in the chat that are similar to my question. So I'll go ahead and ask on behalf of those as well. So you mentioned 45% of the figure in terms of what's wasted. And if you could just share where that waste normally occurs kind of in the process, and then also what percentage of that do you feel like this solution could, help to be impactful for?
Yeah, it's a really important question, and one that we want to tackle. There is very unreliable forecasting right now in farms. So sometimes they either produce more than they are able to sell, or sometimes they produce less than they're able to sell. So there's a discrepancy between the supply and the demand. And when you produce more than you are able to sell, then you have to throw away the flowers. Sadly, the industry is such that most farmers rather throw their flowers away than sell them in the local market. So that's plenty of waste right there. There's also waste when you break what they call the cold chain, which means that flowers have to be brought into, basically like we put food in the refrigerator in order for them to last longer. But sometimes when you break the cold chain, because the truck is waiting at the airport and they turn the truck off, or because they stay at in transit or something, then you also have a flower that doesn't meet the quality standards. So there, along the entire supply chain, there are problems where the flower just degrades. Imagine just having, chicken out for 24 hours, that kind of thing. It's just the same as with the food that we take, that we intake. Now, the other part of your question, I don't have a quantifiable number of the percentage that we can obtain from just managing the entire supply chain. We're working on it. We gather data constantly, and we know based on probably more anecdotally than not, but we have our farmers have had the best Valentines that they have ever had. And this is during that pandemic, and that is because they're keeping track of all their data in a more consistent fashion.
Thank you so much, Gabe. There are additional questions in the chat box. If you don't mind, if you'd like to answer those directly in the chat box. But up next, we have Manal El-Ramli with Newsco. Manal, go ahead and put up your slide deck. Thanks again, Gabe. Everyone, Newsco is a communication platform for the total organization and the factory floor. So Manal is up next, and go ahead and add your slides, Manal. Thank you.
Fantastic.
You're good to go.
Wonderful. Hello, I'm Manal El-Ramli, and I'm the co-founder of Newsco, and I'm here to share with you Newsco for communication intelligence. Communication is the biggest indication of a company's ability to thrive or to fail. The problem, there are just too many mediums that are not context sensitive. Email, newsletters, social media, Slack, noise, noise, noise. The world does not need a new communication medium. That would just be compounding the problem. What we need is a medium to deliver the right message at the right time and the right place, to filter out the noise and to separate out the signal. It's not just about communication, it's about intelligent communication, which is why these industry growth projections are so significant. And conveniently, we do fit under all these umbrellas. Newsco is a context-sensitive, intelligent media platform, which allows corporations to essentially create their own media network. Our solution is a software as a service. Hardware is either provided by us, white glove service, or clients BYOD, or bring your own device. Our tools include Newsco TV, which is basically smart digital signage, which plays content on monitors in lobbies, break rooms where audience is captive. Newsco TV can also be played live stream on mobile devices anytime, anywhere. And Newsco Alerts, which leverages SMS texting to send urgent messages. And Newsco Social, which is in development, and it's a corporation's private social network. Newsco facilitates cross-screen engagement, reaching the right audience with the right message by way of the right devices at the right time. So what makes us special? I know you're all thinking that. Many things, but I'll highlight 3. 1, one application can be used from anywhere. 2, multi-user, group, and zone, and these features honor the complexities of large organizations. And 3, our secret sauce. It's an AI-curated engine which aggregates from the corporate sources and the web, which amplifies relevant news, blogs, and social media. And it keeps the channels fresh, entertaining, and engaging. And as our county client describes it, a platform that does not need to be babysat. We have a very strong seasoned executive team. Mazzardo, he's our innovator, our visionary. This is his take 2. Greco, the CEO that transformed Lamborghini from craft to big industry. And myself, people-centric, innovation-centric, fun-centric. We also have a diverse client base. Our current phase, we're working closely with healthcare, hospitals, and government. So let's break through the noise together. If your corporation is looking to enhance engagement, reach out to me. And we're also seeking investor partners interested in Series A, round 1. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Judges, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions.
So the IP portion of what you're doing seems to be that that AI engine. Would that be a fair statement?
It's one of them, but really the IP is the awareness of the sophistication of the enterprise and the ability to easily direct media to the right place. So one content can easily go 10 different places. So you can create channels and divert the right content in the right way.
Okay, so the target that you're selling this to is it seems like an enterprise, right? The enterprise communications director, IT director, CEO, with the consumer being their employees.
Their employees, their consumers, their partners. So the more really curated messages that you're giving that have a distinct flavor, the more value that you could see. So you could take one content and say, I want to deliver it to these 3 channels out of these 5. And so you can easily create your own network of channels.
Specifically designed for inside the company.
Inside the company, taking account for geographic differences, taking account for audience differences, for role differences. So a nimble execution of the content to ensure that whoever is meant to consume it will be able to do it, and it's easily done from one centralized spot.
Okay, great, thank you.
Did that help?
Yes, it did.
Fantastic.
This is Bassam Sarkut, and the consumer of that information, how does he or she receive that information? On a phone, on a special app?
The consumer might be in the lobby, their break room, where there's the monitor there, and they see a digital signage that's specific for them, that shows the KPIs of the day, that there's open enrollment for insurance if it's in a break room. If it's something urgent and immediate, they might receive a text. And if they want to know what's going on because there's an active safety environment, they can go on live stream and see that channel in a live stream media. So what we're recognizing is sometimes you want to pull, sometimes you need a push. And if we can reinforce a message in all places, that's when it's relevant, then it becomes very powerful. So we're using all of the cross platforms.
I understand the push part. The consumer can also pull the information. How does the consumer know what information to pull?
That's our Newsco social application that's in development, which actually allows you to create your own social network and see all of that content in an interactive, engaging manner. Okay. So all the content that might be on your digital channel, digital signage channel, is also available in that intranet social network platform.
Okay.
Yes, Marcellus, can you tell me a little bit about how you monetize your idea, and how is it growing in the last year, and how old is your company? I'm not sure you said this at the beginning.
No, I did not say how old we were. We have a subscription based, so 70% is subscription. We have 30% that is service based. We've been in a North Carolina company for the last 2 years. Our innovator, Mazzardo, has been working on this concept for the last 5, but commercialized it for the last 2. And we've been creating a lot of relationships with third party that have the content and have the relationships on are using us as a vehicle to amplify the content that they're creating and to add more services to all of the clients that they're serving. Did I answer all your questions?
The growing rate. You have any growing statistics? Revenue growing.
What is your projection, basically?
Yeah.
Our projection for the end of this year is 2 million.
Okay.
And what is you're looking for a Series A? How much money?
We're looking for between 2.5 to 5 million.
And how much you raised on seed?
We haven't raised on C.
So you just jumped into Series A round 1?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Great questions. Mitch,
what is your messaging for your customers about the security and also the privacy protection? Thank you.
Security in which angle do you want me to look at that?
The subscriber, when they want to feel secure and then they want the privacy be protected. So what's your message to them?
That essentially they have a secure platform that all of their content is shared in, and our HIPAA compliant with respect to the texting and with respect to the digital signage, that you're able to direct it to the monitors and to the areas that are meant to be consumed, that information.
Quick,
so
I think
much.
you addressed it. What the information sources are? What you said you're working with some other providers or partners. Can you talk about those, or where are those information sources coming from?
In terms of the content?
Yeah.
The information, I mean, their YouTube videos, there's their newsletters, there's a content that some of them already have intranet. So they're already presenting all of this information in the intranet, but only employees, for example, if we're looking at employee communications, they can only see it when they log into, and they might not always be in front of their computers, but they might be, you know, in their lobby or going up to a break room or in the cafeteria, where right now in cafeterias, you might see advertising for a lot of other on TV for a lot of other corporations that are not in line with your culture. So really, it's did I answer your question?
Yeah, so it's curating not necessarily sources that you're creating, but other sources, but making sure that it's in line with your culture and message that you want to project to your employees.
Yes, it's taking their social media, for example. They're putting it in Facebook, they're putting it on Instagram, they're putting it on LinkedIn, and it's diluted with all of the other voices. And the people that are meant to see it aren't seeing it. So if you're in your hospital wait room and you're putting it on Facebook, well, I have to be there to see it. But right now, if I grab that and I put it on the digital signage, I see the message that's meant for me when I'm captive. So it could be social media, it could be news on things that are relevant to the industry, it could be YouTube videos and just marketing material and sales material that is being created, but we don't know what's going on because we're not always sitting in front of our computer consuming that information.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And hi, Manal, this is Michelle. Thank you very much for your presentation. Question in terms of how you measure performance and engagement type metrics and things like that, and how often that is shared.
That's a really good question. We have a QR code when we're playing the video, the live stream, or on the digital signage that can measure engagement. So we could see how somebody's interested in that. We're looking at new technology that's Bluetooth that will measure the number of people in a room that can also give you an idea. And then with the texting, it's also very easy. Texts are read in 90 seconds on average versus email, which is about 90 minutes. So we could look at whether people went to the link or whether they engaged with that text. So that one's a bit easier to measure the engagement.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Manal. We appreciate. If any additional questions, please do put those in the chat box, and Manal will do her best to get to those, or we can connect you directly to Manal after the pitch event. But up next, I'm super excited to introduce Rich Camacho with Blue Recruit. Blue Recruit is sourcing skilled technicians, machinists, and other staff, and you'll learn more about his company in just a minute when he gets his slide pulled up. Thanks.
Hi everyone, we're Blue Recruit. We're a software platform that connects America's blue-collar skilled workers with the companies desperate for their talent.
Rich, you're muted.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, you were unmuted when you clicked. There you go.
sorry about that. We remuted ourselves. I'll go ahead and start over. Hi everyone, we're Blue Recruit. We're a software platform that connects America's blue-collar skilled workers with the companies desperate for their talent. My name is Rich Camacho. I'm fortunate to be the CEO of this awesome team. Following the Army, I worked for 4 years in talent acquisition. My co-founders are Gina, who oversees customer experience and product, and Matt, who heads sales and partnerships. We also have an internal marketing team and are active participants in several entrepreneur organizations. Blue Recruit was born when Joe, a body shop owner, was hiring an auto body painter. Joe did what everybody in his position does. He went online, wrote an Indeed job post, and waited for candidates to find it. Unfortunately, Joe ended up receiving about 80 resumes from house painters. Indeed simply ran a keyword search and displayed every person in the area that had the word painter in their resume. The average blue-collar job requires 4 times more hard skills than white-collar roles, which is why the model relying on keyword searches and sponsored advertisements to match with resumes is not working. Turns out Joe's not alone. 75% of blue-collar business owners say talent acquisition is their #1 problem. But if the US cannot fill the forecasted growth of over 4 million manufacturing jobs from now to 2028, we will lose an estimated 2.5 trillion economic potential. Clearly, there's a need for a more efficient talent matching process. Thus, we're addressing major pain points in both the $151 billion recruiting industry and the booming blue-collar labor market. So how does Blue Recruit address this need? In only 5 minutes, our job seekers log on and create a profile that highlights their industry, experiences, and certifications. We've completely eliminated the need for a resume. For employers, they utilize our easy to navigate dashboard to find the exact talent that they seek. Rather than having to write a time-consuming job post, our customers select exactly what their jobs require from predefined fields. Job seekers are then displayed by their percentage fit. Notice that 0 job seeker personal information is displayed. This allows an employer to choose a potential hire based purely on skills and makes Blue Recruit the most equal employment opportunity-friendly recruiting software. Our enterprise-level clients with continuous hiring needs like Benjamin Moore, Worthington Steel, and General Dynamics sign up for a monthly recurring subscription model for about $750 a month. This model saves our customers an average of 74% compared to their previous hiring tools and connects them with 3 times more qualified job seekers than the industry average. We currently have about 9,200 job seekers, with social media being our strongest tool for growth. However, we also conduct AdWords, direct mail, and we're really excited to continue expanding our community college partnerships as schools begin to reopen. To date, nearly all of our customers have come to us either via referral or inbound lead. And to continue building the future of blue-collar recruiting, we aim to have 800,000 job seekers and over 1 million in revenue within 18 months. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to learn more about Blue Recruit and your awesome roles in expanding entrepreneurship in our region.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Matt and Gina. I will open the floor to our judges for questions.
Yeah, I have one question. What differentiates your platform from, let's say, there's contractors.com? I mean, there's a variety of different tools out there. Why would I use yours versus something that's already existing?
Yep. And sorry, your name actually didn't pop up, but we're the only platform in the world that actually has completely eliminated both the need for a resume and the need for a job post. So with our method, Matt loves to say we're basically the match.com for blue collar workers. By having perfect data where the employer and the job seeker are both filling out near identical forms, that allows for that match to be displayed so that employers are no longer going to be receiving resumes for unqualified individuals, and people aren't going to be applying for jobs that they're not qualifying. So it's saving time on both ends by only displaying the folks that have exactly what an employer is looking for. And, obviously the job seeker has those skill sets.
Thanks.
Have you filed for any IP patent protection around any of that, any kind of protection at all for what you're doing?
Yeah, Todd, we're looking into it with the algorithm that we built out to create that matching. But right now, our most significant part for the IP is actually the data that we are collecting. We're working right now with NC State government to help in bringing more businesses to North Carolina because we're really one of the only sources where you can find out how many folks in a particular region have X, Y, and Z certifications. And that's really the strength of our IP is the data.
How do you manage and update the taxonomy that is used by the applicants to tag their applications?
Yeah, Bassam, that right there is really kind of answers further into the first question. It took us about 4 months to build out the initial list of certifications, licenses, experiences, and every single week, obviously there are new technologies are being developed. We just recently added, I believe 2 days ago, to construction surveyors and estimators because some new certifications came out. So it's really just our responsibility to stay up with those 10 major industries and constantly adding to our profile. And then obviously we then mark it back out to the job seekers that are already registered to make sure that they're updating their profiles and putting in those new certifications, licenses as they obtain them.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Marcelo.
Yeah, my question is, do you have any plans to expand this to other areas, for example, software developers or medical experts or something? Just curious.
Yeah, Marcellus, there are some companies out there that are trying it on the software space. It works really well for software because one, it's like, hey, do you have C++ or do you not? And then they can go ahead and do an assessment right there on the laptop and really cut down. So that's a great tool for software. Doesn't work for a welder. No one's going to weld through their laptop. So right now we're really focusing in on, hey, no one's addressing the need for blue collar workers. No one's addressing this growth. So we really want to laser eye focus and make sure that we are in fact the experts here. And maybe 2-3 years from now, once we've mastered this, we'll go ahead and look at other industries. But right now we're just heads down and making sure we can create a platform for skilled workers.
Okay, thank you.
What year did you start the website?
We got the idea together actually in my living room in October 2019, and we launched we did a pilot program throughout the summer of 2020, obviously because of COVID and trying to address the unemployment needs, and we were really testing out to make sure that we had the correct certifications, the correct licenses. We had all that information. We released the employer platform for a beta in October of 2020, and we've been conducting a monthly recurring revenue since the end of January.
How many people have been employed through your website?
So the way that we operate is we're making that connection, and 33. It's actually funny. It's a perfect 1/3. 33% of our job seekers are being connected to employers that are searching.
Okay, and from the funding perspective, where you are, what's your projection, what you're looking for?
Yep, we bootstrapped through basically 2019, 2020. One of our clients became a strategic investor through a note in late 2020, and then we actually just decided to open up a seed round for $500,000. That $500,000 would fuel primarily towards marketing to grow the job seeker database. With our particular marketplace, the more job seekers we have, companies are just coming towards us. We really haven't had to do any B2B marketing. Everything's been because of our sources of job seekers. So that's where we're going to focus the $500,000. with our goal of having 800,000 and 1 million recurring revenue within 18 months.
Okay, good.
What is your target in terms of large companies, small factories?
We started figuring out initially, you know, this all started with Joe, a body shop owner. Turns out Joe, although he had the problem, that is not our target customer. Our target customer are, you know, like some of our current enterprise level companies, Benjamin Moore, General Dynamics, Serco. It's organizations that have a centralized HR talent acquisition that then push down support to various locations, because the way that we designed the software, it's really perfect for, say, a franchise that can then provide Blue Recruit as an additional service to their franchisees.
Thanks
Yeah,
so much.
my question actually just popped up from Brian and the thing as well. Where do you make your money though? I didn't quite understand who pays you. I assume it's the enterprise customer. Is it like in the normal hiring world where, you know, if I use a recruiter, I have to pay them a commission, and how does it work?
Nope. You know, that's the world that I come from, and that is very much not the way that we're structured. This is a completely free service for job seekers. Obviously, we want to not have any barriers to them creating a profile. And obviously, most of them are going to be looking for work anyways. But our primary revenue comes from monthly recurring subscription services by our enterprise level companies. For example, use easy numbers. A company might pay us $1,000 a month. They can then connect with about 35 to 50 job seekers. It varies based off people's certifications.
Thanks so much, Rich and Blue Recruit team. Appreciate your time. If there are additional questions, if you would like to answer those in the chat window. Up next, we have Jonathan Levy from MicroGrid Labs. MicroGrid Labs is doing city scale planning for fleet electrification. Jonathan, see you're getting set up. Thank you for being here with us today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Levy with MicroGrid Labs. We offer simplified vehicle fleet electrification planning and operation solutions. Over the next 20 years, vehicle fleets, including buses and commercial vehicles, are expected to rapidly electrify. But there's a problem. Converting existing fleets to electric is not as simple as swapping out a diesel vehicle for an electric one, and early adopters found this out the hard way. There are many examples of improperly planned systems where buses couldn't make it up the hills in Albuquerque, couldn't meet the route distances in LA, couldn't operate in cold weather in Boston, and there are additional examples where new electric fleets operated at higher costs than the ones they replaced. This is because fleet electrification is surprisingly complex. When planning for an electrified fleet, you need to understand which routes can be electrified with current technologies, charging infrastructure details and charging strategies. How will this transition affect the electric infrastructure? And finally, which vehicles should actually be purchased? Once the vehicles are purchased, the chargers installed, how should the fleet be operated to ensure the project goals are met and reliable operation is maintained? When and how long should the fleet be charged? Is there any on-site electricity generation that can be taken advantage of? And are there any local weather impacts that could affect the daily vehicle range? At MicroGrid Labs, we have developed patent-pending tools to simplify the planning and operation through our EVOpt platform. Not just a software, it is a technology focused on system-level design and optimization. The EVOpt planner right-sizes batteries and motors, charging infrastructure, and if needed, on-site electricity generation and storage. And the EVOpt controller is a complete depot management tool offering real-time communication with vehicles, chargers, the electric utility, and expected route schedules to optimize the charging process and reduce operation expenses as much as 30%. As I mentioned earlier, the market is expected to rapidly grow in the near future. 17 countries have already issued targets to phase out fossil fuel vehicles. With these targets alone, more than 150 million EVs will be on the road by 2030, which further exemplifies the need for the EVOpt planning and operation platform. Expected market size for fleet management software is $34 billion. MicroGrid Labs is already a leader in fleet electrification. We have built an international customer base and have partnered with national research institutions and universities. After founding in 2015, MicroGrid Labs has built partnerships and secured national and state grants to further our reach, and we are closing a seed investment round later this year. Our EVOpt Planner Lite went live last month, and the next version, EVOpt Basic, will be released by summer. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. I will open the floor to our judges for questions.
Yeah, my question would going regarding your expertise and your knowledge. I mean, this is a relatively new area about, for example, the optimization of the fleet or deciding the routes, how you get your knowledge and for specific cities and in general.
So our team has a combined 70 years of experience in renewable energy, electrification, and optimization and modeling software technology. And also we are, as I said, partnering with research institutions, primarily the National Renewable Energy Lab in Golden, Colorado, and the University of California, Berkeley, to help us design, and we're designing internally, but also to help us further that design and as we meet this cutting edge research.
Thank you.
So Jonathan, great stuff. Is your platform all software cloud-based? Is there a hardware component, or is it just mostly planning and software applications?
Primarily, we're offering it as a SaaS platform. The majority of the data logging necessary for initial planning stages, as well as the operation during the communication with the different things, are already involved in a lot of these vehicles, especially as you go to electrify. They include GPS data logging, and the buildings already have a control system available. So we're interfacing directly with those through a cloud platform. The first stage of the controller will be direct software, but we'll be moving to a cloud-based SaaS platform in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jonathan. We appreciate you being here. Up next, we have Booth Kalmbach with Trilliott, and Trilliott is tracking billions to trillions of things. Booth, please feel, oh, there you go. You're already sharing your screen. Thanks, Booth, for being with us, and thanks again.
Thanks, everybody. Hi, I'm Booth Kalmbach, and thanks for the opportunity to tell you about Trilliott. Trilliott is revolutionizing the state-old business of inventory control by monetizing the digital asset. Trilliott, first, meet our flagship, SmartSite. SmartSite is a warehouse management service, a WMS that digitizes assets using RFID. SmartSite's traditional features, those in light blue here, unlock cost savings that are far more efficient than their undigitized competitors.
I don't think it should be a see your slides.
Yeah, I don't either.
We're still on the first page.
Is that better?
Yep. Yeah, we see your slides. So maybe you start again.
Yeah, thank you. Trilliott's flagship, SmartSite, is a warehouse management service, a WMS. It digitizes using RFID technology. SmartSite unlocks cost savings with WMS features, those in light blue, that are more efficient than their undigitized competitors. Moreover, new SmartSite features in dark blue increase revenue by enabling new services wrapped around the digital asset. Meet Tim. Tim's knowledge of his assets is limited. He's accountable for asset utilization in his company's operations, but his data is inaccurate. He has so many assets. It's too expensive to capture and interact with the real-time status of 500,000 inventory items. RFID can help Tim. Last year in big consumer retail, 21 billion RFID tags were used, boosting inventory accuracy from 65 to 95%. But for all those Tims out there, the software to digitize with RFID does not exist. Meet SmartSight. First, you affix batteryless RFID chips embedded in labels. Then, with mobile and overhead scanners, find things by the thousands in seconds, up to 60 feet away, with precise location. Finally, manage your business more effectively with the SmartSight dashboard. I'm pleased to say Trilliott has signed up a major reseller for the dealer channel of Herman Miller, the world's second largest corporate furnishings manufacturer. While we're excited about managing high value furnishings, the big opportunity is to springboard from furnishings to other corporate assets. For example, any big hospital has over 1 million potential digital assets. We charge a modest subscription fee for SmartSight, but the real value lies in the digital asset, in the special services that SmartSight wraps around it. For that, we charge $1 per thing per year. And feedback from our customer pipeline says that the digital asset has a total economic value of $4 or more per thing per year. This exceptional value is Trilliott's driver of scale. Of trillions of assets in use, Trilliott targets those that move through warehouses, a multi-billion-dollar market. Our corporate furnishing segment is worth over $100 million annually, and we are underway in industrial material supply chain, a $660 million market. So big markets, big disruption, the digital asset revolution. Trilliott. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bruce. I'll open the floor to judges.
Yeah.
Just 2 minutes for questions.
Yeah, this is Bassam. What is new here? RFID has been around for a while and they've been used in warehouses. What is specifically new here?
Well, it's not used much in warehouses in the broad market. It's used very extensively in big consumer retail. And big consumer retail has spent years and tens of millions of dollars integrating the technology. But if you go into warehouses in general across the country, there's no RFID.
What's your market you're looking at? Because there are actually RFID in use in many companies, and a company like mine, that's what we specialize in, obviously, in warehouse management systems and so forth. So what's your client size you're looking at? I mean, are you looking to try to get a Walmart, or are you looking for small to medium-sized businesses that need a more affordable solution than what a larger company like ours would offer?
Yeah, that's a good question. Big companies have invested in RFID technology. Medium-sized businesses have not. And the software to allow them to make that investment really doesn't exist. So that's our market. And then one of our initial targets is this Herman Miller dealer market. We are reaching into high value, high demand assets, the types of assets you might see that make up a cubicle on a floor, or they might consist of other equipment, like in a hospital. There's just too much of the equipment to really track it via any other technique. Those are our markets.
So technologically, what is the challenge that you have? Because you mentioned you read it in 60 feet. If you're in the industry and with the steel infrastructure that you see usually around your assets, and especially in a hospital, what is the issue? How you overcome those kind of connectivity issue of reading, especially from 60 feet?
Well, you'll use a combination of ways of capturing the tags, as they're traveling around. Typically by instrumenting at doors, so dock doors especially for supply chain capture. In many cases, if you're up on a floor of a hospital or a building, you use handhelds and direct the beams.
I make an example. For example, if I go to surgery room or I go to MRI room, you're not going to be able to use RFID tag.
You can, in certain cases, you would, in fact, you can tag surgical implements and place them in trays that detect the RFID tags. But generally, that's not our focus. Our focus is on bigger, high value, long lived assets. And our first sales efforts are to that respect.
And financially, where is the revenue? What's your projection? And where are you as fundraising?
Well, as a company, we started 3 years ago and purchased the platform that we use under SmartSite and began verticalizing it for warehouse management and supply chain. We entered pilot projects last summer and exited those pilot projects at the turn of the year. So we are in recurring revenue with customers now and are entering our expansion phase, market expansion phase. We have recurring revenue. We have had since inception. And we are at this point seeking a seed round to begin to expand and support our efforts.
How much seed?
450,000.
And the revenue projection for that?
The revenue projection is 80 million in 3 years.
80 million?
Annually, yeah.
Wonderful.
Total economic, that's the total economic value.
Thank you so much, Booth. All right, at this time, I'm going to move all of our judges into a separate breakout room. All of our audience members will stay here and participate in trivia. At 12:40 p.m., we will bring back our judges, and Mitch Singh from IIC will introduce our winner of the pitch competition. So judges, you will now be moved into that room, and everyone else will stay here. You should have received an invite, judges. Perfect. All right, everyone. Now the fun begins. We will participate in some trivia. So I will be asking the questions, and you all will be putting your answers in the chat box. And we will bring everyone back at 12:40 to announce the winner. So we'll get started. Okay. What was the first web browser available for Microsoft's Windows OS? A, Mosaic, B, Cello, C, Lynx, or D, Internet Explorer? All right, everybody. Varying answers here. I like this. Someone said F. Definitely not F. All right, everyone. The answer is B, Cello. Who knew? I think a couple people got it right. All right. The next one. It was in 1995, 15-inch 800 by 600 monitors were the norm. What kind of monitor did John Carmack use to code Quake? A 21-inch, B, a 17-inch, C, a 15-inch, or D, a 28-inch? I mean, y'all are smart. The correct answer is D, a 28-inch. We have some smart people on here. All right, up next. What was the first consumer desktop CPU to achieve 4 gigahertz out of the box? Was it A, an Intel Pentium 4HT from Prescott, B, an Intel Core from Haswell, C, an AMD FX 4170 from Bulldozer, or D, AMD Ryzen 7 from Zen? Jim Meckstrock, you have it right. It's C, AMD FX 4170 from Bulldozer. We're getting some, these are exciting questions. I know you guys are thrilled. The next one, these famous tech personalities are all college dropouts except A, Michael Dell, B, Mark Zuckerberg, C, Elon Musk, or D, Steve Jobs? So they're all college dropouts except for one. Looks like most of the crowd knows this one. It's C, Elon Musk, the only one who graduated college. Guess you don't really need that college degree, depending on what you want to be. All right. Next up, we have, in 2010, the US Air Force used over 1,000 game consoles to build a supercomputer. Which supercomputer? A, Xbox, B, PlayStation 3, C, Nintendo Wii, or D, Xbox 360? Brian Jones, I don't know which Brian Jones, but you have it right. The PlayStation 3. There's a lot of Brian Jones on here. All right, next. When Verizon bought AOL in 2015, how many people were still paying for AOL dial-up internet? A, 500,000 and growing. B, 120,000 holdouts. C, 1,200 accounts. Or D, 2.1 million, down from 3 million in 2012. Looks like most of you all have it. It's D, 2.1 million, down from 3 million in 2012. That's pretty wild. Yeah, Robert, you're right. Rural internet access is still very hard, but our friends in Wilson have that one figured out. If you want to learn more about that, we can connect you to the Wilson people. Very interesting story there. All right, next. All of these famous tech companies started in a garage except A, Amazon, B, Google, C, eBay, or D, Microsoft. So they all started in a garage except. Looks like a lot of people think Amazon. It's actually eBay. Did not start in a garage. Interesting stuff. I mean, I'm learning. I hope y'all are learning some stuff here. Very interesting. All right. What was the biggest tech acquisition in history? A, Dell's buyout of EMC in 2015. B, Google's buyout of Motorola in 2011. C, NVIDIA's buyout of ARM in 2020. Or D, HP's buyout of Compaq in 2002. It is A, Dell's buyout of EMC in 2015. Thanks, Cheryl. Yes, they are still interviewing for Jeopardy. If anyone wants to recommend me, I'm up for the challenge. I do watch Jeopardy quite frequently. All right. How much did the first CD recorder cost? CD recorder. A, $995. B, $10,000. C, $20,000. Or D, $35,000. Again, that's how much the first CD recorder cost. You all got it. Most of you got the answer right. It's C, $20,000. That's pretty wild. Okay, here's a fun one. We only have about a minute left till we can bring back Mitch and the judges. Let's get some good ones in here. Okay. In computing history, who were the Dirty Dozen? A, Shockley engineers who left to found Fairchild Semiconductor. B, a consortium of early tabloid sites. C, engineers who created the first IBM PC. Or D, the internet's first infamous hacking group. Lots of different opinions on this one. It's actually C, engineers who created the first IBM PC. All right, y'all, we'll do 1 to 2 more. Okay, who launched the very first website ever? A, CERN, C-E-R-N, B, Stanford, C, MIT, or D, Xerox? It's A, CERN. I don't think anybody guessed that. All right. I think we've had our fun here. If you want some more trivia questions, I've got a few more. Reach out to me. I'm happy to share my trivia questions with you all. All right, we'll bring all of our judges back and Mitch will introduce our winner. 1 minute. They have about 60 seconds to come back. So we'll do one. What year was RIoT started? A, 2010, B, 2014, C, 2017, or D, 2018? Someone said, Siri, what year was RIoT started? Oh, we have some rioters here. 2014, that is correct. Super thankful to everyone who's here that's a part of RIoT. Whether you're a RAP alumni or a partner, we appreciate you being here. And for all the Internet Consortium individuals, we appreciate you being here as well. If you'd like to learn more about RIoT, reach out to me, caroline@riot.org. I would be happy to talk to you. All right, it looks like all of our judges are back, so I will hand the floor over to Mitch, who will introduce our winner. Mitch.
Yeah, we had very little short time, so Mitch, you got it?
Yeah, it was very difficult.
We got to argue for half an hour.
I love judges.
Yeah.
We could have gone for forever, and so we couldn't really go through as much as we really wanted to. But
That's right. Yeah, actually, the risk is that when we put a bunch of those IIC guys we are familiar with, there's no way we can reach consensus in 5-10 minutes. Okay, typically it's 5 hours.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Great
and
presentations, all though. Really good.
And also that we actually are based on all the criteria. Then first of all, I'd like to congratulate all the contestants because all the participations, and also I can see that Caroline and so Tom, you already do some kind of screening. So all the contestants, like when we have this kind of criteria list, everybody's always on the top. So it's very difficult to make decisions just based on those numbers. So having said that, first of all, I'd like to give a round of applause, even though I know you're muted. I wanted to give a round of applause for all the wonderful participants. Right. Then yes, and then after the deliberation, that we actually pretty much focus on, like I say, how we can make sure that when we invest this, and then this item will have a future, and also regardless their current funding situation. But we are also looking into more like a long-term decision, right? And then all the proposals are doing very well. And also one thing I like to also point out that this is the first time we do this kind of things with online, the web meeting. So we don't have an advantage that we have a body language and gestures to help us, right? So how we can make this more efficient is also very challenging. And I strongly recommend that you go back to review the video. I think some of those contestants actually do much better than the others from that venue, right? Having said that, after a long deliberation and then arguments, I think the winner goes to MicroGrid. Yeah, because we see this project is actually pretty solid, and also they already got some kind of long-term investment kind of sign up for that, and also this actually kind of fit into the kind of the need for the society, and those are very wonderful things that can be for that. And for that, MicroGrid Labs will receive a 1-year free membership, which is worth $5,000 level from IIC. And MicroGrid, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And then the other contestants, your stronghold is on each side, and then I'm also chairing this innovation task group meeting in IIC. I would like to invite you to join us in the future, because I can set up a time so that you can have a full pitch to what you're doing, because a lot of ideas we think is wonderful, but with a 2 minutes limit, it may be more difficult to see that. And again, thank you, RIoT, for helping us with this activity. And then it's good to see everybody's back to action again. Everybody's a winner, right? Remember this bandana. You are the startup companies. You want to fight and you want to win. So hope that you got a successful. And then the IIC and the RIoT are here to help you with that. And our motto in the Innovation Task Group is that we want to make you rich, not only rich, but filthily rich. Have a great day, everybody, and then come join us in the future.
Nicely
Thank
done,
you very
Mitch.
much.
Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
The floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Mitch. Thank you everyone for joining us. Congratulations to MicroGrid, but really congratulations to everyone who joined us, Blue Recruit, Newsco, Information Patterns, Trilliott, Blue Recruit, and of course, MicroGrid Labs. Thank you to the Industrial Internet Consortium. Thank you to everyone for being here. We do have a virtual lunch and learn that starts in 15 minutes for anyone that's interested in joining on the evolution of IoT. You can find that information on RIoT's website here. Again, thank you so much. Happy birthday to Michelle Knoll, the lovely Michelle Knoll. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
I hope you all have a great day. Enjoy
Thanks,
the rest
everyone.
of your afternoons. And if you're in North Carolina, enjoy this weather. Thanks, y'all. Take care. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you for all the judges.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline.